Barnstorming across the country were in the Negro League when guys like Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, they got in the major leagues, you know, they're up there.
Remembering the boys of summer.
Hector's hustle was legal, though. See, Hector understood policy and would not allow them folks down at the IRS to steal that new C-class right
Nouveau.
out of his imagination.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Black Nouveau. I'm Milton, Doctor.
And I'm Faithe. We're glad you could join us. On this edition, we'll hear from Bobby Drake, our poet in residence, and we'll continue our conversation with the new head of MPS, Dr. Gregory Thornton. We'll also profile the U.S. Youth Games, which were recently held here in Milwaukee.
But first, PBS is about to unveil the 10th inning, Ken Burns' sequel to his award-winning documentary, Baseball. Black Nouveau has a baseball tradition as well, as we present the newest honorees from Bruce City's 5th annual celebration of the Negro Leagues. It's become a ritual of summer. The Milwaukee Brewers, yesterday's Negro League Baseball Foundation, and the Holy Redeemer Church of God in Christ honored the men who played in the now legendary Negro Leagues.
How you doing? Fine, how you doing? Doing good. Good.
How you doing, sir?
Doing fine, sir.
All right.
Though their numbers are dwindling, it's an opportunity for the former players to get together and reminisce, interact with fans, and to have their well-deserved moment in the spotlight.
Tell me about that first baseman from Birmingham. Was there the older fella?
Dr.
Yes. Tell me about it.
That was my man.
Is that right?
Hit that ball.
But did he go to the Giants with Willie?
No.
Who went to the Giants with Willie to help him out in the transition? It wasn't
Lonzo Perry, you talking about?
Yeah, but he went
to Mexico. He went to Mexico.
This year, Ollie Brantley and Clinton Butch McCord were inducted into the Hall of Fame. Brantley pitched for 2 seasons with the Memphis Red Sox and played in the minor leagues from 1953 to 1969.
Well, Barnstorming across the country were in the Negro League when guys like Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, they got in the major leagues, you know, they're up there. And when the World Series and stuff was over, they'd get a team and go to the South, barnstorming. And they'd always pick a couple of guys off the Negro League team when we finished playing them, when they started playing the white team, like Mickey Mouse All-Stars. And so they choose me to go along with them because I had, you know, a good fastball and all that, so they thought maybe that I could compete with them. So later that year, 1953, I got signed, you know, by the White Sox out of the Negro League. They bought us, you know, they're buying players in.
Now, how much money did they pay you?
Oh, they paid me $500 bonus. I was glad to get that. When I signed with the White Sox, they sent me to Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And in Sheboygan, Wisconsin was the Wisconsin State League. And man, they got up there and I didn't know where I was gonna stay. And this family we had, they had a little house, what they call a storage room. That's where I was living. And when I got there, kids was crowding around looking and want to know what done happened to this man, why he dark. He hadn't seen a black player. So the parents said, oh, he black. You know, he a black player. You know, he colored. They said, well, why he stay in the sun so long? Why, you know, they was really curious because they hadn't seen a black player up there. When I was pitching like in Durham, North Carolina, the whites could sit in the dugout. I had to sit behind the dugout. They wouldn't allow me to sit in there. And man, it was really tough. And it came down to one day that we had a knockdown. You know how the pitchers knock guys down? And I was only black on the team, so the manager came out and said, Brantley, you knocked that man down, we're going to retaliate. And I said, no, sir, I can't do it. He said, what you say? He said, if you say that to me, I'll put you home, send you home, and you'll be back there picking cotton. I didn't know what to do, so I stoned around on the mound. I wound up and threw over his head. The boy looked at me like he going to come out there and get me. And the man is stoned back out there. He said, I'm getting you one more warning. You either put that ball on the side or I had a bus ticket for you and you'll be back in Arkansas picking cotton. I said, oh, Lord, man, what I'm going to do? I stormed around out there and somebody said, go on, try it. I wound up and hit the white boy in the side and the whole field emptied, and I took off for center field. They had a flag post out there with the American flag on it. I was up on the top of an 8-foot fence standing up there while they were wrestling and fighting, my teammates wrestling. Policemen had to come out there and get me. It was all over. I couldn't pitch no more that day.
Clinton Butch McCord played in the Negro Leagues from 1947 to 1950 and in the minor leagues from 1951 to 1961. Unfortunately, he was unable to attend the Milwaukee ceremony, and Joe B. Scott, a former teammate of McCord's, attended in his place.
I played on my high school team, which was 98% white when I played there. I was the only black on the baseball team, and I'm the first black to play in Wrigley Field, Chicago, 1937. And then Satchel Paige seen me when I was just 15-year-old. He had me to play with him in the summer months after high school under an alias name.
And what was that alias name, sir?
Sandy Thompson.
Sandy Thompson.
Great hitter.
Great hitter. What position did you play, sir?
I played center field and first base with Satchel.
Now, Mr. Scott, one of the things that impresses me about Negro League baseball games, when the fans came to the games, they act like they were going to Sunday go to meeting church. Right. They were all dressed up. Talk about that.
Well, on Sunday morning, you could see in my town, Memphis, the stands would be full. People dressed, big hats on, sharp as a tack, and love to clap when somebody do something.
To celebrate the event, the Brewers wore throwback jerseys from the Milwaukee Bears, and the New York Mets wore throwback uniforms from the New York Cubans. And both honorees got to throw out the ceremonial first pitch.
Come with me as we traverse the depths of muddy terrain, trampled upon, left for good written soil, poised with the calluses of defense mechanisms. As I grow closer to the warmth of your embrace, the breath of your knowledge of self, no, don't turn me away. Love is a battlefield, and I will hold your hand and guide us through your heart's minds until your mind stops telling you not yet, as I say, right now. And right now is the summer of my heart's discontent, as kisses thrown from hearts thrown at me taste like burnt ashes, wine like sour grapes. As your face dances around my temple, my arteries tempo, tempered. As I remember things that never were, as though I'd lost them, like holding your hand and laying my head upon your chest to find the comfort of my day, the strength in our will, the power in your heart. Be afraid not. I will not mislead you. Give in to what's given. Give up what's been given. I have so many more memories to offer, so many more smiles, so many more wedding bells, and guest rooms to turn into nurseries, as your love is powerful enough for a few. So do not retreat. Cortez said, burn the ships, that we might find our home at the completion of our mission. I omit nothing. I give my heart to you freely, even as you look elsewhere, but I don't believe you'll find what I see when I see you, like the first time, every time I see you. So take my hand, and I will guide us, and God will keep us safe, and I will be all that He made me to be, just for you.
Bobby, lady.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's so traditional. It's so what someone, most women would love to hear. And it's so different from, you know, the hip hop, I'm in love with you without all of the other things that, you know.
Usually stigma, come along with that whole being rough. And
exactly.
Yeah.
This is a man talking about how he feels about a woman. What inspires you? What makes you go back to something I can understand and not have to go, ooh, turn on my radio?
Well, I think the most important thing is just to remain pure to the emotion. I think with poetry, a lot of it is to remain true to the core of what you're trying to say. It's message-based. So if I'm trying to, I mean, like with a piece like Lady, I'm really trying to tell you it's okay for you to let your guard down. I'm gonna let my guard down, and we can make this work. And when you write something like that, you can't really have your guard up and write it. You know what I mean? So you have to let go.
Speaking of writing, how long have you been writing and doing spoken word?
For the past 8 years. I think, yeah. I'll be 28 on the 28th, and I started when I was 20, so, yeah.
So, 8 years, writing, performing, and just really cultivating this whole talent that you have. What is it that you want to do with this talent? I know you produced some CDs, but what is it that you want to do? I want to
take the album on tour. Really, I've been in the lab for, maybe my last CD was 2005. It's been 5 years, and I've been working on this present album called Hands Down for the past 2 years, and it's ridiculous. So, I mean, I produce music as well, so it's got a sound to me that blends both the musical production and poetry together in a way that people can actually digest, and not in some weird, abstract, esoteric, listening to me go, and it will, while ambient noise plays off in the back. Like, it's real music. So I've been working real hard on that and getting the show on the 26th ready. So I want to take it to a level where poetry wins Grammys.
That's awesome. That is an awesome goal. You mentioned the 26th. So we can see more of Bobby Drake on the 26th?
Yes, absolutely. September 26th, the preview. It's actually my first show. I've been in tons of shows all over the country here in Milwaukee, but the very first show that I'm throwing and that the company is throwing is September 26th at Why Not Threes, and that's on 1854 East Kenilworth.
How can we find out more information about the upcoming show and follow your work?
Actually, I'm glad you asked. So we can go to facebook.com, push the button. That's PUSH period, the button, all one word, spelled the right way. Or you can give me a call at 414-745-7901. Tickets go on sale as soon as you see this. As soon as they see this.
This is great, Bobby. I'll be there. We want everyone that's watching to be there.
I hope so.
And really, you got to keep on adding to Lady. You know, we really like that.
Just build on Lady?
Build on Lady.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you. Broken bottles and battered women amidst ballads of bullet-wounded concrete. Sun beams his children double Dutch through INFRA-Ks. Hector decided his nickname should be Lakach. Made him seem tough. As if being 16 and watching his mother overdose on heroin wasn't enough. Hey, well, he figured it. We all got a story to tell. Hector's hustle was legal, though. See, Hector understood policy and would not allow them folks down at the IRS to steal that new C-class right out of his imagination. So he never dared to move a single pack. Never packed any packages, just kept the UV on him. He knew he wanted heaven on earth, but he lived in hell in the Bible. Tucked away in his room, read, amongst wolves, be as wolves, with no sin unto yourself. But Hector dared to dream. While people sat at tables deciding his future, he dared think, I'm gonna make it out of here. And in between breaths, in between gunshots, in between ayo alleys, he shed tears of pain that no person could understand. No psychologist could recommend a thing for him, because see, he didn't wild out at school. Hector understood policy and would not allow them to trap his mind with Ritalin, ridding him of his ability to work through the roadblocks to land safely on the other side of America's ghettos. And he wouldn't fall victim to teenage parenting, because he knew that somehow stilettos on 16-year-olds just didn't make sense. And if it didn't make sense and it couldn't add up to the dollars Hector needed to get out of here, Hector dared to dream. And there was no man or mother around telling him a thing, dream. But he somehow knew right from wrong, dream. And repeated daily the 23rd Psalm, dream. In between breaths in between gunshots, in between the dreams of getting out from in between these ayo alleys. Hector dared to dream. And in America's ghettos, there are millions of Hectors who dare to dream.
One of the best kept secrets of the summer may have been the fact that the U.S. Youth Games were held in Milwaukee in mid-July. Hundreds of teen athletes from across the country came to Milwaukee to participate in the games.
The U.S. Youth Games are an event where cities around the country come together competing under their flags and competing for their cities in 11 sports for kids 15 and under.
The Games were created in 1966 as a means of offering urban youth the opportunity for recreational and cultural growth through inner-city competition in sports. The athletes compete in 11 different games, including football, golf, volleyball, swimming, tennis, track, and basketball. Milwaukee Public Schools Recreation Division served as the event organizer for Milwaukee's first hosting of the Games.
Milwaukee has been for about 10 years trying to get the Games. There was a guy several years ago who made a big push, and then that kind of died out, and then Russ Thomas came up and he kind of picked the fumble up and ran with it. And so Milwaukee, at least for 10 years, has been looking to do this. And we've really wanted to have the games here in the Midwest.
I'm gonna go one back set and everybody else wide for now. I'm gonna leave the same offense out and then I'll switch out in the next series, all right?
Yes,
all right.
The games are important, not just because of the kids who go in and become stars. You know, we had a young lady, Vanetta Flowers, who became Vanetta Jeffries when she got married, who was the first African-American woman to win a gold medal in the Winter Olympics. We always knew, you know, Vanetta would win a gold medal in the Olympics. We thought it would be in the long jump. And that never turned out. And one day, Vanetta said, I'm trying out for the Olympics again. So, well, you got a couple years. So, no, it's the Winter Olympics. And you can imagine my surprise, Birmingham, Alabama, sitting in my den watching one of my kids win a gold medal in the Winter Olympics. We don't get snow. And that shows that we can help them become something that they never dreamed of. A lot of these kids, they've never been out of town. When we've flown, we have to give them directions to the airport. I was kind of reviewing with my kids today, and none of them have ever been to Wisconsin. When they see the Great Lakes, they've not seen the Great Lake yet, that would be the first time they've ever seen that much fresh water at one time.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail as the twilight's last gleaming, whose first
The event also gave Milwaukeeans an opportunity to shine. 13-year-old tennis star Tiana Williams lit the torch to signal the opening of the games, then burned up the tennis court and helped the Milwaukee team win the tennis competition. You play singles and doubles?
Yes.
Which do you prefer?
Singles.
Why?
It's easier to play singles because when I play doubles, I get confused sometimes. Like, I would hit the ball in the court, and I got to get used to the doubles lines and not covering the whole court. So I like singles better because it just relies on me and not another person.
We'll profile Tiana Williams on a future episode of Black Nouveau. And you can get more information on the 2010 Youth Summer Games at usyouthgames.com.
Last week, we began an interview with Dr. Gregory Thornton, the new head of Milwaukee Public Schools. He's with us again to continue the conversation this week. Dr. Thornton, welcome back, sir.
I'm delighted to be back with you.
Dr. Thornton, what are your plans to close the achievement gap here in Milwaukee?
One, I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to confront the brutal facts that we have one of the biggest in America. It's no longer acceptable to have a group of young people in a city like us, like Milwaukee, where we have 7% of our kids of African American descent, functioning 30 to 40 and sometimes 50% percentage points below majority students. That's no longer acceptable. We're going about it in a number of ways. We're going to certainly begin a curriculum reform. I think that will speak to it, giving the young people opportunities to have access to curriculum. A major focus around teacher quality, teaching teachers how to differentiate and support our young people in classrooms. We don't teach all youngsters, and we haven't taught all youngsters. And I don't think it's conscious. It was deliberate. I think it's our failure not to have the skill sets that are necessary to be able to differentiate and do the things that are necessary to engage these young people. And as a result of that, our young people are checking out, dropping out, checking out, and sometimes being pushed out of school. So it's a major crisis, not only in Milwaukee, but around the country. My concern right now is Milwaukee, and it's no longer acceptable.
Let's be specific. Why do you think this is occurring? Not only with African Americans, but when you look at the Latino population as well, especially males.
What do I think is happening? There's a number of things. Life is tough on folks right now. It's a very challenging time with unemployment hovering around 10% nationwide. Folks are struggling with trying to keep actually their homes together. I mean, there are a number of things, but we can't allow those things to get in the way of what's most important for the transformation of a city or transformation of a generation. I believe that we need to reinvest in our young people. We've let our young people go. Our parents they've tried to do their best, but often we've not been as successful. We got to start taking our homes back, and as we take our homes back, we'll begin to take our schoolhouses back. And as a result of that, we have to hold high expectations for these young people and provide the scaffolds that are necessary for them to get over.
But Dr. Thornton, you know, oftentimes when you read the literature about Milwaukee MPS is failing our kids, but oftentimes you never hear anyone say anything about the parents. See, because I believe this is a two-way street. What do you propose to get more parental involvement, or even to motivate parents to get them involved?
I think it's more than a two-way street. I think it's a multi-lane highway. And not only would I suggest to you the school district hasn't been as responsive as it needed to be, nor the parents, nor have our churches. I mean, we can't, there's enough blame to go around to everyone, from city government to state government. There's enough blame. We got to get out of the blame game. We got to move forward and say, look, we got a crisis in this city. And if we don't address this crisis, we're going to lose a generation of young people, specifically African-American boys. Our boys are not only checking out of school, they're checking into places that they don't want to be. We don't want them to be. So what we got to do is say to parents, and we begin to re-engage parents in schoolhouse. And as a result of that, you know, I think parents will begin to take on a greater role. We're going to invite parents in. You know, it's one thing to say we want you, but we're going to actually invite parents. And in January, we'll open up a parent academy where we'll begin to give parents the tools that are necessary to support their young people, to ask the hard questions, to get parents engaged and following up who the youngsters' friends are. I mean, what are the things the youngsters need to be doing in school? What are the things parents can do to help? Those are specific things that we think will position us to allow our parents to be greater supportive systems for our young people.
Are you saying more shared governance?
Am I saying more shared governance? I'm saying more shared accountability. Okay. And at the end of the day, we all have to accept the accountability of the future of this city. And it's not left to the school. It's certainly not left to the parents. It's left to all of us. When I went to school and when you went to school, yes, I believe that there was a community. Some call it a village. Exactly. I call it a community. And Verizon calls it a network. We got to build a network around these young people so if they fall, we're there to pick them up.
Another area of importance is special ed needs and its impact on the budget.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Special education?
Yes, sir.
As you well know, we're in a kind of discussion, lawsuit now with the state around special education needs. There's a moral imperative that we have there. We have to educate all kids. And we haven't done a really great job in doing that. And as we continue to work through this initiative, this concern that we have, we're doing some things that I think are very much on point around comprehensive literacy program, around getting our parents involved, around creating processes and systems in which kids can move through the process relatively quickly. So we're very encouraged. We're very cautiously optimistic about the outcome. But I'm of the belief that the things that we're doing are right for kids regardless of outcome. There's certain there's a certain standard of care that every youngster gets, whether you're special education, regular education, gifted education. We need to provide that for all children, regardless of the exceptionality that they may bring to the schoolhouse.
I concur 100% with that one. Finally,
yes.
At a recent symposium, 4 people who previously held your position said this: the system had advocates for everyone, but no one was advocating for the students.
Well, I'm pleased to say that the #1 advocate sitting right in front of you, I have one agenda, is to improve the quality of life for the young people in this city, so that one day, 10, 15 years down the road, somebody different sitting in your seat and somebody's different sitting over here. I disagree with the superintendents. I believe that advocacy is there. I think it's our job to coalesce that advocacy and get that advocacy focus, to create a coalition around supporting kids in this city, and that hasn't existed. That's my role, and one of my roles, to hopefully to engage some others to make certain that that happens.
How will you deal with special interests in order to accomplish that task?
Well, that's pretty easy. I mean, I can't think of a special interest group that doesn't want young people to be successful. Wow, I couldn't imagine what could be in it for them. If you think about the future of this city, if you think about where this city's heading, and you think about the challenge that this city faces, I can't imagine a special interest group not wanting the young people of the city, which would be the next generation of leaders in this city, not to be successful.
For the sake of clarity, we were talking about advocates, unions advocating for the teachers.
Sure.
Other unions advocating for other areas.
I'm advocating for kids. This is work. I'm advocating for kids. I'm going to win. Losing is not an option. We can't allow our young people not to be successful. Our city, the state of Wisconsin, I think, is certainly tied very closely to the success of Milwaukee Public Schools. So what I would say to the listeners is this is my invitation to you to get involved, get off the sidelines, get in the game, and get your uniform dirty, and together we can make a difference and change for the future of these students here in Milwaukee.
Dr. Gregory Thornton, thank you so much for joining us on Black Nouveau, sir.
Good.
And that wraps up this edition of Black Nouveau.
Remember, in the coming week, do something to expand your world. Good night.
Good night.